Hey guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Yeah, so if you watch my videos regularly, you know that like earlier in the week I mentioned that I was going to do a Q&A. Several people had tweeted me and sent me direct messages and left in the comment sections if they would like for me to do a Q&A. I actually even got a couple emails about it. So I also saw that Rachel at Reader on the Right was doing one, and Simon at Savage Reads was doing one, so I thought, what the hell, I'll do a Q&A. So what I did was I wrote down everybody's questions that they gave me, and I tried not to like pay attention to them much so that I wouldn't like formulate an answer, because I wanted this to be totally off the top of my head. I just wanted it to be like, hey, here's my answers, deal with it, get over it, love it, hate it, I don't know. So anyway, learn a little bit more about me. And so then I folded them all up, here I'll show you, into little pieces, props, and I put them in this pig. This pig thing. Pig thing. I don't even know where I got this, but anyway. So, yeah, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach in and I'm going to answer a question and tell you who sent it to me. There's no way that I can answer some 40 questions, you guys, in 15 minutes. I'm way too long-winded for that. You know that. And so, I mean, if I get 4 questions answered or 10 questions answered, we'll just go from there. Whatever questions I don't get answered, I'm going to keep in here. And if I ever do another Q&A, I'll just add those questions to this and mix them up. And yeah, so I'm so excited. Are you guys ready? Let's pick the first question. Okay, first question. Third verse, same as the first. Okay, let's see. Is by Lakin. This is from Twitter. What's an immediate DNF for you? A DNF flag for you. Something that immediately made you put it down. Okay, interesting question, because I just did the video about how to DNF a book, and this is really, really hard for me, you guys, because I don't often DNF books, so it has to be something that's like a huge turnoff right from the beginning. You know, like if I start a book right from the beginning, and like I'm not a huge romance reader, so like if I start it off right away and it seems like super cheesy, or the characters seem very, very flat, like I'm a really character-driven person more than plot. So if I start into it right away and the character is just flat and there's nothing to them, and really what I realize is it's just the author kind of telling a story, I don't enjoy that at all. Like, so that's for me something that I would probably DNF just right away. All right, so there's my DNF flag. Flat characters. Thank you, Lakin. Next question. So exciting, isn't it? Okay. This question is from Miss Sexy Mad Hatter. I like that name. What book, and she has 2 questions actually. What book would you hunt down every edition for on your bookshelves? Okay, so here's the weird thing. I actually remember writing this question down because it was question number 9, so it was like one of the first questions I wrote down. I'm not like a big edition person. Like when a lot of people on BookTube talk about like wanting to have every cover of a certain book, like the UK versus the US edition or first edition. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to have a first edition book, but I'd probably be tempted to sell it. So it's like, you know, that just doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I don't know why. Like you would think as a lover of books, I would care about that, but I just really don't. So I probably wouldn't hunt down. Probably the cheapest edition for a book is probably the one I would hunt down. All right, and do you have a favorite children's book from when you were younger? Well, I actually did a whole video on all of my favorite children's books. Let me see, off the top of my head. Are You My Mother? Which is like one of those, you know, Dr. Seuss books. I absolutely loved that book when I was a little kid. About the little bird that goes everywhere and is trying to find his mother. I also loved the one about all the houses. I actually talked about that. Oh my God, the Lonely Doll. The Lonely Doll, about the girl doll that like is friends with the Mr. Bear and Little Bear. I mean, that is my all-time favorite book. So she was very lonely. She had a beautiful house and beautiful clothes, but she was very lonely. I love that book so much. I could literally sit here and read it right now and just laugh my ass off. Okay, but it is rather tragic. Next question. Let's see. This is nothing like Janis Joplin's interviews, which I just watched that Janis Joplin Little Girl Blue again and I loved it. Okay, next question. By Courtney. How many books do you own and how many books have you read that you own? Well, I have no idea how many books I own because I don't count, thank God, because I'd be through with my answer to that. Too many. I own a huge bookshelf over there. I have probably 100 books in my kitchen that my husband is about to kill me for. I have loads of boxes in the basement. Half of them are my mom's, half of them are mine. So I don't know. I mean, I really don't want to put a number on it. And how many have I read? It's interesting because most of the books that I read that I really like, I give away, which is why I don't have physical copies with it, because I'll be like, oh my God, you have to read this book, and I give it away. And I'm like, give it to somebody else. If you like it, give it to somebody else. Don't give it back to me. And I was thinking about this today because I was like, so I'm listening to Sleeping Giants on Audible, but I also have the book because I got it from Book of the Month Club. And so I wanted my best friend's son to read it, and I was like, oh, but I don't know, I want it for my bookshelves. And I was like, what for? So it just looks pretty on my bookshelves? I mean, what is that about? I'm not a book hoarder. So, I don't know how many books I own. A couple hundred? How many have I read of those? I have no idea. 100? 50? So anyway, that's my answer. Next question. Thank you, Courtney, for that question. Courtney's been like commenting like crazy on my videos. Thank you, Courtney. Next question. By Yakiana. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. She also has been commenting on my videos. Thank you so much. She's a new subscriber. Are you a Game of Thrones fan or not? And if not, why not? A point of contention. So I'm assuming you're talking about the TV show, not the books, because the books to me are massive and I don't like long books. But I've heard they're excellent. So my husband watches Game of Thrones religiously. He loves it. He can't wait till it comes out every season, all that kind of stuff. I'm like 3 or 4 seasons or 6 or 7 seasons or how many seasons behind on it. For me to start it now, I just do not have the investment in that. And it's kind of like his show. So he constantly has been telling me things. I'll like lay on the couch. I'm like showing you the couch over here that you cannot see. But like I'll lay on the couch while he's watching it and stuff like that. And so no, I'm not really interested into those epic tales. It's not like something that I like really get infatuated with. So that's why I'm not into Game of Thrones. I have a feeling that if I started it, that I would absolutely love it. But it would just be one more TV show I'd have to watch. And currently I watch so many TV shows, I can't really add something that I'm like so many seasons behind. So thank you. Next question. What could it possibly be? Okay. I'm like really like being serious about picking these questions, but it's like they're all probably kind of the same. Is by Judith. I think her name on Twitter is Book Dreams with a 3, like Kesha. I used to call you something like Kesha Dreams or something. What do you think are the pros and cons of being in an interracial relationship? Okay, so if you do not know, my husband Alex is Latino. He is from Venezuela. I don't see a lot of cons, because we're also in an intergenerational relationship because he's 12 years younger than me. I would say that I think that affects more in our relationship than anything else because he, like a lot of pop culture references are missed on him, like Love Boat, Fantasy Island, Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac, for example. I'm a huge fan of Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac. Dolly Parton even, like just a lot of things that like I refer to about growing up. He has no clue what that is. And I don't know if that's because he didn't move here from Venezuela until he was 12 or if it just is like age-wise he doesn't understand that because he's very interested in pop culture. So that's interesting to me that he doesn't know those references. As far as the pros of being white and being part of a Latino family, I mean, there is such an honor of the culture of being Venezuelan, not only Latino, that I'm so honored to be part of that family. The food is incredible, you know, the stories from when they grew up are incredible. There's a matriarchy that they like are very, very respectful of their mother. Like Alex has 2 brothers and all of these cousins and everybody is very respectful of their mother. And then Alex's grandmother lives with his mom. And they're all very respectful of her. I don't know that I see a lot of that parental respect in, you know, like white culture, United States. You know, family get-togethers, dinners of 30 people. It's very happy, never fighting each other. There's just a love of the culture that I don't think I see a lot with my white counterparts. And I don't even have that in my own family. So, you know, it's just that family unity is probably the biggest thing. I loved it. All right, so I hope that helps at all. I love, 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 love being part of a Latino family. And if you see, I wear my hat a lot that says like Aida Rapist. And I like always am proud to wear that hat. All right, next question is from Riri. I just wrote this down. So Riri asked, and I love your name, Riri. What are your thoughts on the presidential election? Okay, so I have made a point of not commenting on any of this stuff on my Peter Likes Books Twitter channel. I also have a Twitter just called Peter Mon, which probably has a few more thoughts on the presidential election. On my personal Facebook page, many. And I've been trying to really stay away from that the last couple months, but I will just say this. Number one, it takes a village to raise a child. I'll give you guys some hints. That's my first hint. And number two, I come from the grand Hoosier state of Indiana. If you drive through Indianapolis, all you will see in everybody's front yard are signs that say, Pence must go. We're very thankful that he is no longer our governor of Indiana. That's all I have to say. Next question. Okay. Piggy. Okay. Comes from Shalene. She comments a lot on my videos too. Thank you, Shalene. How much do you work? Part-time or full-time? Okay, so a lot of people asked about this. They asked, like, somebody else asked this, what do you do for a living? Okay, so for 13 years, I worked in a residential treatment program for teenagers with drug and alcohol problems. I was a counselor, an inpatient counselor. And then I started my private practice towards the end of that. Several years ago, I changed over from being a counselor to being a life coach. So I work with people who have all kinds of issues, you know, like from anxiety and depression to marital issues to just wanting to accomplish your dreams in life, and I'm their coach through that. And if you have more questions about that, direct message me or send me an email. All my information is below. I work between part-time and full-time. It was kind of my goal to do that. I'm also a writer, as many of you know. I'm working on my third novel right now, between my second and my third novel. And so I spend half of my time writing and half of my time doing life coaching. So I'm kind of part. But I also wanted to be semi-retired by the time between I was 40 and 50. That was part of my goal. I used to work 80-hour weeks, and I no longer do that. So, okay, next question. Thank you, Shalene. Is by Josh Joplin. Favorite author off the top of your head. Least favorite author off the top of your head. Least favorite author off the top of my head, I'm going to give you a couple of them. E. Lockhart, hated We Were Liars. That one that wrote Where the World Ends, I just saw it at Target again today for $14.59. I thought if anybody pays that much money for that book, they ought to ask for it back. That book is horrible. And I don't dislike any of these people as people. I don't know them. And that Ruth Ware, I just don't like books that are really, really pumped that are horrible. Like that Ruth Ware is the woman in Cabin 10. I mean, it's horrible. Like, I mean, I don't even understand it. And a favorite author off the top of your head, I would definitely say, and I know this is so trite, you guys, but John Green. I just love everything that he's written. If you haven't seen it, I did a video early on called You're Never Too Old to Fanboy Over John Green, and it tells some hilarious stories about how I have ran into him in Indianapolis because he's here. So go watch that video. Next question is by Anne. What is the best phrase in a book that has stuck with you? Shoot, that's really, really hard. And I don't know. Like, I'm just not good with phrases and quotes and things like that. Shoot, like, listen to me. This is just like total space. I mean, I could say something, you guys, but like, I don't know how to explain this. It's a violation of a group that I'm in. If you hear me talk a lot about my videos of being sober, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there's a book that aligns with that. Basic Text of Alcoholics Anonymous. I could recite certain lines of that, but I choose not to. So I don't know. Let me think about that, Anne, and I'll talk about that in another video. That's actually a really good question. Okay, next question is from Graham. Favorite non-YA book of all times well, it's interesting because I've always said that it's To Kill a Mockingbird, but this year it's changed, and I'll tell you why. Because Go Set a Watchman, Harper Lee's second book, came out, and I know a lot of people didn't like that book. I loved it. I almost feel like they're two parts of the same book. One when she was younger, one when she was older. So for me, To Kill a Mockingbird and Go Set a Watchman together are my all-time favorite books of all time. Okay, next question, and I'm running out of time, is by Sophia. And she said, if you had to pick 3 books to be the only books to read for the rest of your life, what would they be? I love this question. Catcher in the Rye, Shoot. The Geography Club by Brent Hardiger. And what would be my third book? Shoot. So I have a meditation book by Sark, S-A-R-K. I love her stuff. It would be the Living Juicy by Sark. Yeah, so that's all the questions I can get to today. Should I do another Q&A right after this and just go part 2? Maybe I will. All right, guys, I love you, and I will talk to you later. Bye.